Hello there. Today's video is about Sandrone, who uses cryo with a great sword. First things first, it is important to know that having her in your party changes the elemental reaction superconduct, which is the electro and cryo reaction, to stellar conduct. This new reaction works as follows. A star will appear where the reaction was triggered. This star will emit a field around itself. Within the field, your and other players' cryo and electro damage is increased, and enemies will have their physical resistance decreased. When enemies within the field are hit by cryo or electro damage, that will periodically increase the previously mentioned elemental damage and stellar conduct damage further. When I talk about damage, I will point to the name of the attack in the talent menu. Your percentages will be different depending on its level. This is a pointer telling you where to look to find your damage. Looking at her talents, the first one is her normal attack, which uses the left mouse, circle, or B button. When pressed, she will use a 3-hit combo, dealing attack according to this chart. If you hold the button or left trigger down, she will perform her charged attack, which will rapid fire to the center of the screen, dealing this amount of cryo attack per hit. You can move her and the camera around while this is happening. Periodically, she will fire a beam between rapid firing for this amount of cryo attack. If she is within a stellar conduct field, the beam will instead do this amount of stellar conduct attack. As she fires, this bar on the left will increase. When the bar fills completely, it will turn red and attacks will come out much slower. This means the attack has overheated and needs time to cool down. The bar cools 3 times faster if you are swapped to another character. If you press the button in the air, this is the amount of attack she will do to enemies on the way down, and this is the amount of attack she will do around herself when hitting the ground, depending on how high up she was. The second talent is her elemental skill, used with the E key or the right trigger. When pressed, she will start moving around on a chair for up to 6 seconds. If an enemy is nearby when the button is pressed, she will hit them with 2 missiles for this amount of cryo attack. She will not lose altitude while on the chair and can dash using stamina. You can get off by pressing the button again. Using the elemental skill will also fully cool down the charged attack. I don't know why they bother having a cooldown timer if this just resets it every 3 seconds. The third talent is her elemental burst, used with the Q key, triangle, or Y button. When pressed, she will deal this amount of cryo attack with 3 lasers repeatedly, then this amount in a final attack. If she is within a stellar conduct field, the final attack will deal this amount of stellar conduct damage instead. Now, you may have noticed that when she is affected by the stellar conduct field, she deals less attack. Yes and no. Yes, as in, if you do nothing else but that attack, she will do less damage. However, there are many ways to increase the damage potential of stellar conduct damage. This means the percentage you see is only a base that can be built upon with proper planning. I will not go into how this works because, frankly, I don't know, but it is something you will want to look into. The fourth talent, which unlocks at Character Ascension level 1, only functions when in a stellar conduct field. It says that after using her elemental skill, for every 10% the charged attack's bar was cooled down, the next usage of her elemental burst inside the field causes the final hit to deal 10% more damage per 10% cooled. Also, if the bar from her charged attack was higher than 50% when the elemental skill was used, the second missile will do 400% of its original damage. The fifth talent, which unlocks at Character Ascension level 4, says that for every 100 attacks she has, her elemental mastery increases by 8 to a maximum of 160, which is at 2000 attack. The sixth talent is the talent that changes superconduct into stellar conduct. The party's stellar conduct damage will be increased by 0.7% for every 100 attacks Sandrone has up to a maximum of 14%, which is 2000 attack. The 7th talent says that if she is in your party when you return to the Adventurers Guild after completing your daily missions, you will obtain special food items. Now onto her Constellation. You get these by acquiring another copy of Sandrone. If you don't plan on doing that, these do not apply to you, and you do not need to know these. The 1st star causes her charged attacks bar to increase at half the speed it normally does, and increases the party's stellar conduct damage by 30%. This one's pretty good. The 2nd star only works when within a stellar conduct field. It increases the critical damage of the charged attack's beam by 40%. If you continue to fire more beams without letting go of the button, each one will have its critical damage increased by another 20%, maxing out at 60%. The 3rd star increases the talent level of her normal attack by 3, and raises its maximum level from 10 to 13. It says 15, but can only go above 13 by special means. The 4th star says that when Sandrone deals stellar conduct damage, she will additionally do 125% of her attack as cryo damage to the enemy, which is counted as stellar conduct damage. This has a cooldown of 4 seconds. The 5th star increases the talent level of her elemental burst by 3, and raises its maximum level from 10 to 13. It says 15, but can only go above 13 by special means. The 6th star says that the 3rd beam attack from her charged attack will fire continuously. This will deal 100% of her attack 4 times as cryo damage. If this happens inside of a stellar conduct field, it will be 80%, but considered stellar conduct damage. This star also elevates Sandrone's stellar conduct damage by 20%. That means it does 120% of the original damage. So, that was how to understand Sandrone. She pretty much solely works as the main damager on your team. So, just slotting her into your existing party is a bad idea and will not bring any of her potential out. You'll want stellar conduct fields out all the time, so get a reliable electro applier. Yai Miko is pretty good, but I'm also not a team builder, so go find someone else's video on that topic. If you have any questions, please ask in the comments. If I got anything wrong, tell me in the comments. If you liked the video, share the video. I don't participate in fandoms, so I'm not really sure what's happening out there. Alright, be seeing you.